Coming up today on David Vs Goliath. David Vs Goliath, you're learning about hypnotherapy. Who even knew you could make a business out of it?
I wanted to help people. I wanted to inspire people with my music.
Kudos to you. Kudos to me. Kudos to both of us.
Welcome to today's episode of David Vs Goliath, a podcast dedicated to helping small businesses leverage technology to not only help them compete against their large competitors, but win. Your host is currently the CEO of Anthem Business Software, a three-time Inc. 500 recipient, and a serial entrepreneur with a passion to help small businesses everywhere find, serve, and keep more customers profitably. Please join me in welcoming your host, Adam DeGraide.
Hey everyone, it's Adam DeGraide for the David Vs Goliath Podcast. Welcome to the show today. Should be a lot of fun. We're going to be interviewing Victoria Gallagher. She's a hypnotherapy specialist. I was like, whoa, I've only heard about that one more time in my life, and that was when my wife was giving birth to our children. She did hypnotherapy, which I thought was interesting. Anyway, today should be a lot of fun. Today's episode is brought to us by automatemysocial.com, where you can automate up to 100% of your business's social media. Never have to think about it again. Set it, forget it, save thousands, save time, save money, make more money, have more fun with automatemysocial.com. Be sure to visit us online at David Vs Goliath Podcast.com. There you can subscribe to receive our newsletter and also apply to be on the podcast. Well, Victoria, welcome to the David Vs Goliath Podcast.
Hello, Adam. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. I'm happy to be here.
Now, very important, Victoria, you're going to have to go subscribe if you haven't already.
I'm going to.
Just like we subscribe to each other's podcasts, it's a lot of fun. And I was excited about having this conversation with you today because my wife, Crystal, is an amazing woman. And we had two births at home, children that were born at home. And One of them, she had a doula that was a specialist in hypnotherapy. Mm-hmm. And it was unbelievable. So I have two kids from a previous marriage, and they were born in a hospital, train wreck. And then, it was just the worst process. I think hospitals have the worst process in the world. I'm not a doctor, but it's terrible. And then I experienced two at home with my current wife, and they were beautiful. And she credits 100% of it to the doula and the midwife that she had and the hypnotherapy. So much so that she was even using the same hypnotherapy tapes or like CDs with our second child as well too, and had just beautiful births both times. And, I don't think people really understand what hypnotherapy really is. And I only know it from personal experience because my wife did it during the birth of our two children. Tell the folks a little bit about, what you do and why you're passionate about it.
Well, first of all, I just want to acknowledge that story because all too often people go into the birthing experience and the doctors and the staff and everybody go into it as like some kind of a stressful, fearful, something that's on high alert. And so, it's like what you expect ultimately. And everybody sees, they're programmed on television, to expect like, crazy stressful experiences. And so I actually did get trained many, many years ago by the late Marie Mongan, who wrote Hypnobirthing, which a lot of hypnotherapists use in their practice for, doing the hypnobirthing. And so that's what it's called. And that's not surprising to me to hear the difference in the two different experiences. They're just worlds apart. But getting into, so why I got into this field is mainly that number one, I'm just very passionate about helping people to break through their limiting beliefs and expand their awareness, which is what I think that we're put on this planet to do, is to expand as, human beings and ultimately fulfill our destiny that we came here with. And so I learned hypnotherapy at a very early age. I didn't think that I was going to be a hypnotherapist, but, after being in the corporate world for a number of years and having a lot of success in that area, I started taking some personal development training courses. And during these courses, I really kind of got back in touch with what it was that I was passionate about, which was personal development. And so I really just kind of wanted to make my hobby my hobby of, studying all of this and doing meditations and creating these recordings, kind of just became my day job.
That's great.
And I just love helping people to really just break free of the shackles of the beliefs that, have been imposed upon us and that we have essentially convinced ourselves, or other people have convinced us are true, which are not.
It's fascinating, and thinking about this, the whole experience with my wife, Crystal, who's amazing. Nobody can ever convince me that it wasn't effective. I mean, because I've been involved in both situations. Somebody who is trained in that aspect, helping somebody along, and then just someone who is, for lack of a better word, Victoria, thrown to the wolves, so to speak, and you get in a situation where you're like, so it's it was truly remarkable. And so you currently now have a podcast called The Power of Your Mind. And I have to make sure that I subscribe to that as well. I'm going to do that actually the next time you start talking. Tell us a little bit about you. Have you written any books? Are you writing books? Yes.
So I've written 4 books. You'll see right behind me is my number 1 best-selling book. It's probably it was released 4 years ago, and it's still floating around. It goes day to day, but on any given day, you'll see that it's number 1 bestseller in its category of hypnotherapy. And so that's, that's sort of my signature program, my signature book. And, it really breaks down the whole process of manifestation it's called practical law of attraction. So it's in a very practical way. And one of the motivators to writing that book was after really dealing with a lot of the backlash that people had after seeing The Secret. And, you had a lot of people that were really inspired by that movie, but you also had a lot of people, I don't know if you're familiar with that movie, The Secret, that they talk about the law of attraction. And, so there were the people that was like, oh, that's not true. It doesn't work. I've tried it. And, and so I really wanted to give people a well-rounded understanding of how and why it works from a, from a mindset understanding, really giving them, because a lot of people, they look at the law of attraction and they look at these movies and they look at, how some people teach it, and they think that, all the power is something outside of yourself that you're connecting to. And it's really the power is all within us. And, so it's so that was my first main book. I've written a couple other books since then. The Ultimate Weight Loss Power, and that's a script book for hypnotherapists. It's a little bit more than a script book, though. It's like it kind of gives hypnotherapists like the whole, how to set up your business, how to attract clients, all the 12-session program that you would create. And then I've got Attract Good Luck, which is kind of more or less like an NLP book. And that really kind of goes into a lot of the breaking the limiting beliefs. And so it goes through a lot of NLP type of techniques. Yeah.
That's fascinating. Well, we got to take a break from our first corporate sponsor. And when we come back, I want to talk about where you actually started before you did this. This is amazing. Look at this, guys. David versus Goliath. You're learning about hypnotherapy. Who thought we would ever be talking about this? Who even knew you could make a business out of it? Well, Victoria knew. She's written several books. And Victoria, stay tuned. We'll be right back Here's a message from our corporate sponsor, Automate My Social.
Do you own a business? Do you have or need a social media presence? If you are like most businesses, you spend either no time or too much time and money on your social media strategy, spending thousands of dollars per month only to get mediocre and inconsistent results. This leads to frustration and, in some cases, sleepless nights. Introducing AutomateMySocial.com. Automate 90% of your social media and never have to think about it again. That's right. Automate your business's social media posting and strategy like forever. Automate the essentials and customize only what's needed. Save time, save money, and get better results with AutomateMySocial.com. Our patent-pending technology gives you the ability to automatically create your social post and distribute them immediately, like in seconds, across all your social media platforms. Stop the madness of paying someone to create, post, and manage your strategy, and let our software do the work, so you don't have to. Oh, and if you're an agency or social media manager, you too can let our software do all the work, and you can get all the credit. It will be our little secret. With AutomateMySocial.com, you can have it all. It's easy to use, never complains, and never asks for time off or more benefits. See this amazing new software application at AutomateMySocial.com. If you own a business or manage client social media and want to save time, energy, money, all while increasing your return on investment, then let's get this party started at AutomateMySocial.com.
And you're back with Victoria and Adam DeGraide, your handsome host from the David Vs Goliath podcast. It says here that you outgrew your job as a stockbroker. So you used to have in that world's got to be a little bit of a grind. And then you decided to start to make a positive impact on people. How many years have you been doing this for full time now?
I started in 1999, so this was way back before people even thought it was possible to make money on the internet. And at that time, I was a stockbroker. So I started off as a sales assistant, and then I got my Series 7 license, and then I moved into being a stockbroker. And during, that time, I started making 6-figure income. I got the corner office. I got my own assistant. I got all the things. And then I kind of realized that I wasn't really happy in that business anymore. It just wasn't, like I said, I outgrew it. There was nothing wrong with the business. It was a great business. I kind of, at that time, I wished that I could have continued to have the passion that I once had for it, but I just didn't. And so that's when I stumbled upon this personal development course way back in the day. And I, through a lot of different graduating courses from there, I just realized that I wanted to make these recordings, and I didn't know that they were going to be hypnotherapy. I kind of named them visualizations or meditations, and I just wanted to get like some credibility with making them, because I was recording them and I was writing them and they sounded good and they seemed to make the transformation, but I just didn't want to go in willy-nilly with people's minds and think, like I know exactly what I'm doing without getting some kind of credentials. And so I didn't know what those credentials were going to look like, if it was going to look like coaching. And I just kept putting it out there. And finally I stumbled upon a hypnotherapy certification training. And at the time that when I stumbled upon it, it was like the class was starting in 2 weeks. It was just a few miles down the street. I was living in Vegas at the time. So I got certified in hypnotherapy and then NLP and weight loss certification, all the things. And before you knew it, I was opening an office, and then my
I want to talk to you a little bit about that. So when you think about, how you get certified, you have a passion, it's something that you love personally.
Yeah.
And you were able to take that energy and harness it towards taking all the information, everything you learned in the business realm, and now putting it towards your own business, to now where you're actually helping other people start their own practices and the best ways to do that. If you think back throughout your life, did you ever envision yourself being that coach that not only helps people, but helps other people start their own businesses doing what you do?
No, actually, I had no idea that I was going to be doing this. Like when I grew up, I wanted to be a singer. That was actually, it was interesting, because you had the guitars and everything behind you. So, that was like from 7 years old. That was a dream of mine, awesome, to be a rock star. And what was interesting is that, I wanted to make recordings for a living, and
you are making recordings for a living. They're just a little bit different.
Exactly. I wanted to help people. I wanted to inspire people with my music. And there is background music in these, and I wanted to be on stage. And last week I was just on stage giving a keynote speech. So
good for you.
It just looks a little differently.
It's funny because I have two different sides to me. I don't know how much you've seen the episodes on David Vs Goliath, Victoria, but I have, as an artist, I have a piano album with my Steinway and a string quartet, and I did an album called The Calm, which was meant to relax people's blood pressure. Ooh, I actually have a new album coming out with that genre called Reflections, and that'll be coming out this summer. It's another 11 songs, relaxing instrumental music. And then I have a band called the Adam Music Project, which is hardcore heavy metal. So it's completely exact opposite spectrums. I was just interviewed, and it looks like the band's actually going to be featured in one of the top 100 fastest growing artists, independent artists right now, is the Adam Music Project. And actually it's incorporating 25 different artists. But the reason why I say all this to you is that the relaxing side of the music, one of the things that I just decided to do is I'm going to be recording for myself some scriptures over it. And so it's not just the beautiful music. If people want to meditate with the word of God, so to speak, and listen to the Psalms or listen to the passages about encouragement or those about, having peace in their life. I'm having working with my uncle who used to be my former pastor. He's got a great voice, and he's going to be narrating this over it. So it's funny because, like, if you know me, the last thing you ever think is Adam DeGraide the Calm, but there is a side to me that is actually calm. And I think it's an awesome thing to be able to help people. Music's very important. It's very therapeutic. You couple that with the right words and the right messages, you can have an impact on someone's life. And so kudos to you, kudos to me, kudos to both of us here at the David Vs Goliath Podcast. We're going to take another quick break from another sponsor. When we come back, I do want to talk to you a little bit about courage, because I think courage is really, really lacking. And a lot of people are afraid to start their own thing. So we're going to talk about that. You're with Victoria and Adam DeGraide on the David Vs Goliath Podcast. I'm trying to keep it chill today. I'm trying not to scream as much because it's kind of a relaxing episode. But listen, we got to get fired up. This is about life as well, too. And you have a mission in your life. You have a passion in your life. And there's things you're supposed to be doing. And we're going to talk about that next with Victoria. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
At ISU RMAC Agency, we want to be your one responsible source for all of your insurance needs. From a rocket engineer in California to several hospitals in Illinois, our personal lines team specializes in hard-to-place risks and high-net-worth clientele. With 2 locations and 20-plus agents, we can write in all 50 states to better serve our clients with needs in multiple states. Family-owned and operated since 1962, and 4 generations carrying on the tradition of insurance. Celebrating our 60th year in the industry, we are truly proud of where we have come from and where we are going. With over 300 carriers nationwide,
Our agency can offer individuals and businesses more choices and better prices. ISU RMAC brings a wide variety of solutions to the table. For more information, visit us online at www.isu-rmac.com.
And we're back for our final segment with Victoria and Adam DeGraide from the David Vs Goliath Podcast. One of the things I really try to encourage entrepreneurs is with courage. David didn't have armor. He decided not to put on Saul's armor. He grabbed 5 smooth stones, went down and slayed that Philistine giant, held his head up and said victory. And a lot of that, I think, if he took 5 stones, but only took 1 to slay the giant. And I liken that to the stone of courage. So in a business, you need to have plans. You need to have people. You need to have process and tools. And the most important intangible element, I think, is courage.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
So to leave that 6-figure job for yourself, Victoria, and the comfort that you had in that, to step into an unknown, it takes a lot of courage. What was it for you? 2-part question. What was it for you that gave you that strength? And then second of all, how would you right now speak to somebody who's maybe in the similar situation as you were then, and how would you encourage them today?
I think at the time I was high on personal growth. I will be honest. I had been, really doing a lot of soul searching and self-awareness. And I really just felt like this is meant to be. Like this, this is my destiny, and that I'm going to be taken care of. I had a little mantra in my mind that do what you love and the money will follow kind of thing. But I just kind of spoke on this over this last weekend, and, I call it being bold and being, being brave. And I think that courage comes from, you have to believe in yourself. But how do you believe in yourself? Well, the way that you believe in yourself is that you always do what you say, and you always, keep your agreements with yourself and with others. And the two are synonymous. Keeping your agreements with others is the same as keeping your agreements with yourself. And, when you strengthen your word with yourself and others, you can do anything. And so it's about having that. And to me, it really felt like to sit in this role, even though it was generating an income, to sit in this role and know that there was something greater that I was destined to, felt out of integrity for me. And so that was really like an integrity with myself. And I just highly encourage people that, to know that if you have an idea, if there's something in your imagination, if you can dream and conceive that something is out there, you can't wait. Time is constantly passing us by. And, so you have to, just allow yourself to believe. And how do you get yourself to believe? You get yourself to believe by, taking those bold actions, doing something that you say that you're going to do, like every day. It could be starting with some small action every day, just even like, I'm going to make my bed every day. And then you do that. And, I'm going to work out every day, and you do that. And when you build this relationship with yourself of like, I always do what I say I'm going to do, then that means that when I say I'm going to be successful at my business, that goes in the subconscious mind. It's always recording, always keeping track of, and anything that you say that you're going to do. And so when you say, I'm going to do this, and you follow through with it, then the subconscious mind is going to figure out the how that's going to happen for you, because it's like, it's just, that's the obvious thing that always happens. You always do what you say. You know, and
I think, by the way, I think that is fantastic advice. You know, one of the things that you said, you know, get up and make the bed. Some point, just getting up and being consistent with yourself and others can lead to more consistency with yourself and others. I think that's profound. Is that discussed in any of your books?
Actually, I do discuss consistency in my Practical Law of Attraction book in one of the qualities. So I say that there's about 16 different qualities. There's more than that, but these were the ones that came to mind for me when I was writing this book. And there's 16 qualities that a person can have, one of them being that integrity piece. So that was another one. And these are all qualities to develop that will help you to raise your energy vibration. Because like, you know, getting back to the whole word thing, like anytime you're, you know, saying something that's not not in the highest level of integrity, it's also not in the highest level of vibration. And so it's that vibration really that attracts and exposes all of the opportunities and situations and circumstances to help move us in the direction of our dreams and our goals.
I love it, Victoria. It reminds me of the scene in Meet the Parents where he had Fokker connected to the truth-telling machine. And he's like, did you ever? And it's like, you know, you get to feel the vibrations and it's growing up. There's truth to that. There's no doubt about it. Now, how can people find you online?
Right now, just go to victoriamgallagher.com is my website. And there, you know, you can sign up for the self-hypnosis training course, and that'll help teach you self-hypnosis. You can download my app, Hypno Cloud. We have a new one coming out called Believe. And this one's just like gonna blow your mind, but it's still a couple months away before that one comes out.
That's awesome.
You know, you'll see all my courses, coaching, all of it.
Man, it has been a blast having you on the David Vs Goliath podcast. Look at that, listeners and watchers. You're learning even about hypnotherapy here. You never know what you're going to learn when you tune in here to David Vs Goliath. Thank you so much for being a watcher. Thank you so much for being a subscriber. Make sure you check Victoria out. Victoria, thank you for joining us. Everyone, we'll see you next week. You have a fantastic day.